Hey everybody, it's the Geekonomics. We're back. It's another show. It's another episode where Brian is drinking coffee from a mug stained with coffee. How are you doing, Brian?
Mark, I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm Oakley Dokley. Thank you very much. I don't know what that was. That weird but okay. So first off, before we get into this whole show, I gotta tell you, last week we talked about Letterkenny. I had not watched the show since I saw random YouTube. Someone had posted the season on YouTube because it's a Canadian show.
Yes.
I'd watched a couple episodes then and a couple scenes. But since you mentioned it, I dove back into it. So if I drop random Letterkenny quotes during the show today, you'll know why.
Well, it is one of my favorite shows of all time right now.
It is amazing.
I just finished season 2. The cliffhanger at the end of season 2 ends on a cliffhanger, sort of. Then they do a St. Patrick's Day episode, which is amazing. Yes. And I haven't started season 3, which I plan on starting that this week. Yes. I don't know if what happened in the end of season 2 is going to add to anything, because you just don't know. Don't ruin it for me. But the show is just so quotable. It is just awesome. It is awesome.
It is great.
I love it.
It is great. It really is a show that is basically, it's like Seinfeld. There's no there is a plot, but not a very strict one.
Yeah, I would say
certain themes that kind of go along with this show.
Yeah,
but there's no real driving.
There's sort of like a through line with some characters that will kind of lead up to something.
Yes.
But my favorite 2 episodes were Fart Book, which was hilarious. Yes. I fucking died. Then my second favorite is when they did the Shark Tank parody.
Yes. And because they got the $5,000.
Yes, and they're going to give the money to the community. Yeah. And what the girl that works in the shop, she was in front of the camera, and she's introducing each person, and they're like, "What are you doing over there?" And she's like, "Nothing."
Bonnie McMurray. Bonnie McMurray.
Dude, the show is amazing. They are on a live tour performing a new episode live. I'm hoping they're recording it and we will get to see a taping of this, because I saw the sets. Yeah. They have the fruit, they have the vegetable stand, they do complete sets and everything. Yeah. The merchandise, I'm definitely buying the shirt that says Pitter Patter, but the Metallica stuff, and it has a lawn chair with a beer on the arm of the lawn chair.
Nice.
And I want to get that shirt so bad. I went to their webpage. They have great merchandise.
They do.
The show is just absolutely amazing. I'm so happy you jumped back in, because I have no one else to talk to, or no one's going to get my references to the show.
Pitter Patter, get her at her. I've been saying it to Claire all weekend. Pitter Patter, get her at her.
When she walks in, you're a sniper.
You're a sniper. What's up, snipey? Gonna go high post? Gonna go low down? Gonna go 5-hole?
Oh my God, the way they talk is just awesome. I wonder how many takes it takes them to say all that stuff.
Some of them get where it's them back and forth.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, and the actress who plays Katie.
Yes.
My God.
Yes, Miss Katie.
Woo. Yeah.
Or Bonnie McMurray.
Yes. Or who the ostrich. The guy who fucks the ostrich. Allegedly. Squirrely Dan is your brother.
It is my brother. It is
your brother. Because when we would have conversations like that, he would be the one to be like, allegedly. That shit is your brother.
Hello, Miss Katie.
It's what I appreciate about you. Oh, is that what you appreciate?
And he's back about 80% there, Squirrely Dan. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry about there, Super Chief.
Oh my God, dude! That actor is amazing.
They're all great. It's all great.
Yeah, and the goth guy, Wayne. No, not Wayne. Wayne's Stuart. Yeah, Wayne's the main guy. Stuart. Yes. It's a culmination of our friend Dan.
Yes,
I'm telling you.
Yes.
Yeah, he is hilarious. Yeah. The whole cast is great, and when they do the slow motion fighting.
Yes.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So good. They make it look so cool. They always
smoke
the cigarette. Huh?
Joint Boy.
Joint Boy.
toughest guys in town.
Yes, when he has to fight them all.
Yes.
Oh,
Don't
so good.
Don't come up the way. Stay down at the end of the road.
Yeah. Well, I highly recommend to anybody to watch
On
it.
Hulu, so you can watch it.
Yeah.
And they're quick.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll watch, like I said, for me, I burned through season 1 in 2 days. And
Yeah.
that's not weird. That's not normal for me.
No,
Usually
I'm
I'm
already
like,
up to season 4. I blew through the whole thing.
Is that just
Yes, there's
this
5
week?
seasons. So
there's 10 seasons.
is there?
Yes, there's 10.
Oh, then I'm really got a lot more to watch. Good. I thought it was only 5. I was getting impressed. I was like, oh, it's almost over.
No, they actually released a new season last year, and they released a new episode on International Women's Day.
Oh.
That's part of season 10. And then they put a trailer out for a potential spinoff that's going to be more hockey centric with the actor Wayne. I don't know the guy's name.
Shorzy.
Yeah, but I don't know the actor's name.
He plays Shorzy as well.
Yeah, Shorzy. Yeah.
Yes.
So
you never see his face because it's his voice. It's such a bad he does such a bad job because it's really, you can just tell it's him, but it's great.
I haven't gotten to that part yet. Is that in season 3?
Sure. Oh, I think so.
Yeah, I haven't got to that takes place.
You start getting Shorzy, who's like the other guy in the team, but you never see him. It's always
yes,
bathroom,
yes,
he's on the bench.
Yes.
He's got like his head down. It's Wayne, the guy Wayne, the character actor.
I knew it was
plays
him.
That voice as well. So it's hilarious because he gets really he used to go crazy. It's hilarious.
They alluded to him throughout season 1. Season 2, you hear him talking and his head was like this.
Yeah.
And I recognized his voice and I was like, I wonder if that's him. No, okay, that makes all sense now. I got connected right there. Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, there's 10 seasons, man. So you got a lot to go through. I hope to hit season 3 and 4 this week. So but
the end of season 3 is pretty good.
Yeah.
The Bradley episode and then the Haunting of Modine's 2 is hilarious.
All right, don't tell me anymore.
Oh my God.
I'll catch up.
Season 4 kicks off even crazier.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
All right, Marcus. So over the weekend, we left everybody confused. We were confused about. Let's put a pin in that. Anything else? Anything else this weekend other than Letterkenny you jumped into? Anything else that?
No, just did the annual watching of WrestleMania. It was
Johnny Knoxville was on that. Right?
He was.
How do you do?
He won.
He won?
Yeah, they had the whole cast appeared.
Wow.
As part of his match. It was craziness.
I might watch that.
Yeah, but it's the annual watching of WrestleMania. It's a tradition. It was a 2-day thing with Saturday. Like I told you before the show, we had Claire's dad's birthday party. So we didn't get to watch the Saturday one. So yesterday we watched all 10 hours of WrestleMania.
Wait. Okay, let's rewind. When I was a kid, WrestleMania was like a 3 to 4 hour event.
Yes.
When did it turn into a 2-day, 10-hour event?
During the pandemic, they did a regular show, but they split over 2 nights because they were doing it without fans.
Right.
So they wanted to get more content out there.
Okay. That makes sense.
Then last year, there was their first one back in front of fans.
Okay.
It was still before they were officially doing live shows. So it was in Tampa Bay. So as a welcome back to fans, they did a 2-day event. And now I think that's going to be their thing. They're just going to do 2 days.
So each day was 5 hours?
It's about 4.5.
Wow. Now, is it a lot of garbage or
no, all matches, all stuff going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Because they have that big of a roster. Because they really have 2 shows. So you think about, you have 2 shows worth of storylines you have to wrap up kind of for the year. And the new year starts tonight, kind of wrestling storyline wise. Here and there. So to be fair, they do the 2-day thing, so that way they can get all the stuff and fit everyone's matches in, not have to jam it all into one night.
Okay, so here's my other second question. Is it a pay-per-view or is this on Peacock?
It's a premium live event on Peacock.
Do you have to pay extra?
No, as long as you have
Peacock.
Peacock, you can watch all the WrestleMania, all the wrestling shows.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
But if you don't have Peacock, you'd have to pay for this, I'm imagining.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So here's my second
I mean,
question.
if you have just regular Peacock, you have to watch ads. If you have Peacock Premium,
yeah,
you don't get the ads.
Okay. I have Premium.
Yeah.
I don't get ads.
Yeah. I was carried over because I had the WWE Network back in the day.
Oh, because they rolled it in together.
They rolled it together.
Yeah.
But then they ended up getting it for free because of the Cox deal, so now I don't have to pay for it at all. So.
Here's my second question.
Okay.
So Saturday's event just goes on like a on-demand thing, right? So on Sunday you watch that first, and then Sunday you watch the second part.
Yes.
What time did you start this? Like 1 p.m?
Yeah, like 2 p.m. And
what time were you done?
Well, we finished the first part around 6.
Oh my! Wow.
And then the second part started at 8. That ended around 11, 12, around 11 something. So I think it's probably about 4 hours each.
Wow.
It's about 8 hours. But it's great. I kind of like it better as a fan of the shows. Because like used to like everything like you remember back then, everything was all jam-packed in the one night. So you had to like get everything in.
Right.
And since they've expanded their roster, added another show, 2 separate shows that act like the rest, the stories basically don't intertwine too much. So it's kind of nice that everything gets its time to like, nothing's like super rushed as much. I mean, there's still some matches that are quick matches that they just throw out just to get out of the way kind of stuff. But
yeah. Usually that's in the beginning.
Most things get like, 15, 20 minutes each. Like Johnny Knoxville, I think was like one of the longest matches of the whole weekend.
Was he like a main event?
He was kind of like a main event. I mean, they're all main events. It's WrestleMania.
Oh, that's true. Well, I guess when I was growing up, WrestleMania, the main event would have been like Hulk Hogan fighting someone, or the Ultimate Warrior fighting someone.
Yes, yeah.
It would
be. It was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns.
Who?
Where they unified Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, and they unified the belts.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Yes.
But they unified the belts.
Yes, the 2 belts, the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship.
And they connected them like.
Well, no, not like that kind of like just unified it. So now like Roman Reigns ended up winning, spoiler alert. So he became the Universal WWE Champion.
Oh. Spoiler
alert. If you didn't watch it yet.
All right. So that was WrestleMania. Anything else?
That was about it. Just watching Letterkenny.
Yeah.
That's been a lot. And then the shows that we're going to talk about later.
Right. We're going to talk about those. For me, I did read the first graphic novel of Bunny Mask. Really good. I was collecting Bunny Mask. It's a supernatural kind of storyline, right up my alley. This guy who kidnaps people and puts them in his basement, and weird shit happens. And these people are kidnapped, are in this tunnel. Something happens to them that connects them when they get older, and they have this supernatural phenomena happening. I read the first.
Wear bunny masks.
The woman who is this thing, which there's more questions than answers, wears this weird bunny mask. It's good. I read the first volume. I enjoyed it. Hopefully they'll put more out. I'm sure they will. Obviously watch a lot of Letterkenny. Then playing Horizons Forbidden West, which I absolutely love, and I'll probably be playing it for months. And then I got a nice refresh for comics for my next show, which will be in June.
Nice.
I bought up someone's collection.
Wow,
So
look at you, fans.
I got a lot of DC stuff, a lot of good stuff too. So I actually spent a good couple hours pricing and going through that, which I enjoy doing. So, and I got a lot more to go through. So
nice.
Then on top of that,
you have to come down to Plainville on the 24th and check out all the other stuff they got.
Yes, let's talk. Yeah, I will definitely try to go the 24th if I can. Yes. I should be able to. I'm trying to look at my notes real quick. I think that's it for my week. Really, nothing else major happened. It was calm week. Let's jump into the news because let's talk about more Morbius.
Worst Marvel movie ever made. We just call it that. Now you don't have to worry about the name.
So let's jump into what we continued talking about last week, where we were confused about the timelines.
Yes.
I watched the uploaded that probably are not still there on YouTube of there's two scenes after the credits. During the credit, mid-credit, after credit.
Yes. The usual Marvel stuff.
Yes. It's very confusing. A lot of people that have talked about this movie have talked about how this does not make any sense. It's very muddled and confusing.
Yes.
I'll lay it out for you. The very mid-credit, we see Michael Keaton, his character from Spider-Man.
Yeah. They
allude to the fact that you see the sky opening in the same colors from No Way Home, Doctor Strange's spell. Well, he squeaked from that multiverse out into this timeline.
So he got out of the Tom Holland universe.
Yes. And he's now in
random universe. We don't know who.
The Sony universe.
Yes.
And he's in jail still. He just got warped to a different jail cell. And they're basically saying, we don't even know why you're here. We don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
And we have to let you go because we don't even know why you're in here.
Yeah.
So they let him go. He is now free. Then the final credit scene is Dr. Morbius driving.
Yes.
And he's going to meet someone. And he actually pulls to the side of the road and he meets Vulture.
Yes.
Which confuses a lot of people because he came over in a jail cell. How the hell did he meet? Because he didn't build that suit. Don't forget. He had people build it for him.
What was stolen tech from?
Yes, from Stark Tech. So how did he?
And how like the aliens from Avengers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So one, how did he go back and not go forward? Also, the spell was to make sure nobody knew who Spider-Man was. So he knows who Spider-Man is.
In his universe.
In his universe. Because
he doesn't know who Spider-Man is in their universe, or if there is a Spider-Man.
But he says to Dr. Morbius, he says, I want to team up and go after the Spider-Man. And Morbius goes, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that sounds intriguing. So he knows who Spider-Man is. But maybe he doesn't know who
their Spider-Man is.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't know because he knew it was Tom Holland.
Yes.
But maybe now he doesn't know.
Andrew Garfield. Whoever.
So it's very confusing because how did he get his suit so quickly? Because that suit was made with Stark Tech, which does not exist here. And it was the same suit.
Well, that we know of. Who knows?
I don't know, man. It's weird. This is why I kind of have no interest in this stuff.
And the thing about it is if he snuck over from Tom Holland's universe, there would be another him in this universe.
Not necessarily.
Well, that's the whole shtick of the multiverse.
Well, there isn't. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm telling you what I saw.
This movie
makes no sense.
I thought about it over the weekend, and it's like I read all your guys' things in the chats and everything talking about it. And I think this is one of those things we're gonna have to just like chalk up to COVID. This movie got COVIDed. If this movie didn't have to move 9 times and it didn't have to be reshot 3 times.
But it wasn't. Here's the thing.
They did 3 reshoots for this film.
Yeah, but this movie
to change the storylines because literally things were written.
Yeah, but
and they shot it. Then they decided to move the movie behind Spider-Man. So they had to redo scenes of the movie so it would make sense because of things that happened in Spider-Man.
But here's the thing. From the reviews and the spoiler reviews I've watched, none of the scenes, the movie has other than those 2 scenes, there is no connection to anything else. The I am Venom line is not even in the movie. The Spider-Man poster is not even in the movie. There is no connection to anything.
Yeah, because those were technically supposed to show that he was in Venom's universe, which would have been the Tom Hardy universe.
Which he is.
I think at the time when they did the Morbius originally, Venom and Morbius would have gone after Tom Holland. I think that's where Sony was trying to go. They were trying to force Marvel into letting them use Tom Holland in a Sinister Six movie. And then Marvel's like, no, we're going to make No Way Home, which will negate Venom in our universe.
Yeah, but
as Tom Hardy, we'll send him back. So then that way you can't say he's in the Tom Holland universe. So then Morbius was like, oh, we wrote this movie and he was going to be heading in that direction. So I have to totally change it to something else.
Well, it does. He is in the Venom universe. Yes. And the speculation is this. I see what you're saying, but the speculation that this could be Andrew Garfield's universe.
Yes.
And that Andrew Garfield could come back as Spider-Man. Yeah. And that could be, now that we open that wall, we open the multiverse, Andrew Garfield could plausibly take over the Sony side while Tom Holland is still with
the Marvel guy.
The Marvel side.
Yes. I think that's the shtick of it.
I think so too, personally.
I think that they were, like I said, I think there was a plan in place, and then the multiverse was thrown out into the world, and I think they were just like, oh, well, we can't, like, Marvel's not gonna let us bring these guys into their universe. We'll just make our own universe.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I think that's, and this movie, I think, was kind of like flipped and flopped around so many times, it just couldn't get its own footing.
Well, I mean, from the reviews I read, the writing isn't good. It's boring. They say
that's a Sony trope, unfortunately. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a Sony kind of like classic old school kind of superhero.
Yeah.
A lot of people said it reminds them of old, like early 2000s superhero movies when they weren't that good. Yeah. And the fact that we've had so many great ones now, it's like a throwback. You know, it's like, why? Why are you doing this?
Well, no one asked for a Morbius movie to begin with. It was like, it wasn't like anyone really, like, he could have been in another movie.
Right.
Somebody else's. He doesn't need to have his own movie.
Totally.
No one was asking for a Morbius origin story.
Right. I agree.
It was a very random pull. Like when it was announced, I was even like, why? Like, give Sleepwalker a movie if you're going to give Morbius one. Why not? I mean, if you're going to pull random characters, where's Polka Dot Man's movie? It's like solo project. It's like, this makes no sense.
Well, so over the weekend, Morbius did 39.1 million. It was number 1 at the box office, but still only 40 million.
Yeah.
And the movie cost 75 million to produce.
Yeah, it'll break
even. It did make 84 million in total with overseas.
Yeah, so it broke even.
It broke even.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. So who the hell knows? The crazy thing is, it's got a 17% in Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's got I think a 60% in Rotten Tomatoes from just, people, their reviews that critics are giving to it's a 17%. And then it's got one. I know I shared an article yesterday. It's tied, or it's got like one of the lowest Metacritic scores. And basically, opening night, they have people outside and they ask you if it's good. And they ask you a little survey.
What your thoughts on the movie were.
They grade it an A through an F, and it's sitting at like a C minus or a C, which is tied for like with I think a C plus goes out to Ghost Rider, and then another movie.
Wasn't also a Sony film? That wasn't a full Marvel movie.
That was a Fox.
Oh, let's see.
Ghost Rider was a Fox.
So it's not technically a Marvel movie.
It's still a Marvel character. It is.
I know, but I'm saying I think there's also that caveat. I think like the worst Marvel made movie would be Eternal still.
I can't argue with
that.
that.
It falls in that state of who asked for an Eternals movie?
Nobody. Nobody asked. It was one of the lackluster ones. I'll agree. Yes. It is. I honestly, those characters were just so boring.
Yeah.
What was
like
boring?
A DC movie. Just didn't care about anything.
Yeah. All you cared about was to see what happened at the end. I mean,
that's basically all it was. It was a movie to just basically, it was like, here, this is the thing we're going to set up Celestials. Oh, okay, thanks.
Right.
That could have been seen in someone else's movie.
Yeah, totally. And then one last bit of news. The only news that I care, I think you'll care too. I didn't watch the Grammys. I didn't care to, but I'm happy to report that the Foo Fighters won 3 Grammys yesterday.
They did.
Best rock album for Medicine at Midnight, rock performance for the opening track, Making a Fire, and rock song for Waiting on a War.
Yes. The crazy part of the whole thing is I totally forgot that album came out like last year.
February. It's been over a year old now. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it was way longer than that. I was like, when they said it, I was like, what did they win Grammys for? The stuff they did for Studio 666, like that stuff. I was like, makes no sense.
Yeah, everything.
But I saw it, I was like, oh, that album came out last year. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm happy the Foo Fighters got 3 Grammys. They obviously were not there. They were actually supposed to perform. They did cancel.
Yes.
They canceled their entire tour, obviously. Yes. Yeah. But I'm happy.
Night Live did a nice tribute to Taylor. They had a still.
Yeah, I saw that.
Very
That's
nice.
Good. And then
Dream Theater won Best Metal Performance.
Who?
Dream Theater. Yes.
Oh.
Their first Grammy ever. And they've been a band for a long time.
I usually isn't Dream Theater just as that Christmas album that I listen to?
No, I don't know. No, that's a Siberian Orchestra.
Oh. I thought Dream Theater does a Christmas album too.
Do they? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
I just know a friend of mine who's like into metal bands, and he was posting about it last night. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Dream Theater. I think I'm going to.
I know they're like a heavy metal rock band.
Yes.
They might.
Yes, Dream Theater. The holiday spirit carries on. They have a Christmas album.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. All
right.
I think that's the only time I've ever listened to them is the holidays, which is weird to say.
Okay. Sure.
Weird.
Alrighty.
So let's move on from the news. We have to talk about Halo. We got Moon Knight.
Did I see like John Baptiste won like album of the year from the Colbert show?
I don't know who that is.
Colbert's musical director.
Oh, that's awesome. He's great.
He beat like Taylor Swift and like all that. I thought was kind of crazy. Randomly saw that on Facebook.
He did the soundtrack with Trent Reznor and someone else for the that Pixar movie that came out last Christmas, I think. Soul.
Oh yeah.
And they won a bunch of awards for that too.
Oh, okay.
He's really good. He's really a talented guy.
Yeah.
I forget his name though. So when you said his name, I don't really watch a lot of late night stuff anymore. They did do a great prank though, which I thought was awesome. That Jimmy Fallon
hosted Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel hosted Jimmy Fallon.
Yes, I thought
I saw that.
Fantastic.
After the fact. I didn't watch the episodes, but I saw it after the fact.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. That's like a cool little prank, you know?
Yeah, Justin Timberlake came on as Matt Damon.
Yes.
That
Really
was
good.
funny.
The Chili Peppers' new album came out this week.
And they were the musical act for both shows.
Yes, which is also pretty funny.
Yeah, they played and then flew across country, played over there, and then they put them together.
I did listen to the album. There's a few standout tracks. I'm gonna not listen to it for a week and listen to it next week. I don't know how I feel about it just yet. It's okay.
Right.
I do really love Weezer's new EP, Springtime.
Surprise.
It's really awesome. They're doing a season, an EP a season. So spring.
Yes.
They're gonna do summer, fall, and winter.
Yeah.
It's very spring-like. It's very positive sounding. It has an old school kind of Weezer sound to it. I really, really enjoy it. My first listen to, I really dug it. Chili Peppers, I just need more listens, I think. It just didn't hit me. It didn't grab me yet.
Yeah. Didn't slap.
Huh?
Didn't slap.
It didn't slap right away.
Pretty different.
A couple songs I really liked, but
Yeah.
a lot of it sounded the same. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
So anywho, let's talk about Halo. Let's get the elephant in the room, because
Well, here's the thing. We talked about this last week. I'm going to start off with this because we talked about this last week. How I think we're going to have two different perspectives on this show. And from reading the chat over this past week, I'm starting to feel like I'm right. I did not play the first game.
But it has nothing to do with the first game at all.
Well, no, I'm just saying I never played the first game. So I don't know the story arc from the Halo video game series as well as you do and Francia and the other guys. So for me, watching this show, I don't have that information in my brain. So I'm watching the show and I don't find it to be that bad. You guys, on the other hand, know that story pretty much backwards and forwards. You go into this with a bias of that story in your head. So when you see the show, you're like, this is not as good as the video game was. So I think that's where the divide is going to be.
Well, I agree with you, but I will tell you this. I am pretty much, I can separate the two because I did enjoy that first episode.
Yeah.
I thought the second episode was boring, and I really have no interest in continuing with the show.
Well, it's just one episode. You can't base your whole thing off one episode.
I've come to a point that there's so much content out there that if a show does not connect with me the first or second episode, I am not going to waste my time. So yeah, I am not watching anymore.
So snobby of a video.
It's not because there's only been a handful.
You don't get me in the first two episodes. I am out of here.
There's only been a handful.
To do. To be fair, I think this.
There's a handful of times this has happened to me. It doesn't happen often. After The Walking Dead killed Glenn, and that show just went downhill, I could give a rat's ass about it. I stopped watching. I'm done. Fear the Walking Dead. Me and Allison started watching that show. I did not connect with one character. I think I was done with that 4 episodes in. Allison was like, no, we must see it through the end. She watched it. I watched it with my eyes closed. I could care less. Gotham. I really want to love Gotham. We got a couple episodes in. I just didn't give a shit anymore. Allison's like, we must continue and watch the whole thing through. We finished season 1. I watched it with my eyes closed.
Yeah. I'm
not going to make myself watch Halo when I'm not enjoying it. And no one's making me.
I'm going to give it one more episode.
You listen, like I said in the chat, if you're enjoying it, awesome. I don't think it's a bad show per se. I think for me, it comes off as not a Halo show. They could have put Space Marine doing things and not called it Halo.
And it
would have been it would have been the same effects, because to me, it doesn't feel like Master Chief. It doesn't feel like Halo. It just feels like a generic sci-fi science fiction show with a big budget. That's all. And I'm not saying it's bad. For me, I have no interest. That's the problem. I'm not connecting with any of these characters. I watched 2 episodes. Master Chief came in with a bang. And then this episode, he leaves with a whimper. And all the other characters.
Well, I think it's the thing of they think the story way they did the story. If they had released the first 2 episodes, like they're doing with Obi-Wan, and they've done with other Marvel shows, I think if they did that kind of thing, or even like Vox Machina, if they released the first 3 episodes, so this was the middle episode of the 3 that you were going to see, that first shot, I think it would have been a better launch of the show.
Maybe.
I see what you're saying is they launched the first episode, guns blazing. It was basically like the video game, like feel. You had the shots of inside the helmet. You had the fighting with the Covenant and all that. This one was more of like the long drawn out cutscene where there's a lot of talking and as I used to call the reading pages, where I would have to read a bunch of stuff because you couldn't hear that there was no talking, like factual audio talking, was just here's a bunch of scenes of words.
Yeah.
So that's what I felt like this episode was. So if the 3rd episode continues that, I could see myself not being as into it. But I'm gonna give it 1 more episode, see how it goes.
All right. Well,
if it returns to the fighting and the action and the stuff that I want to see, then I'll be back into it again.
You can report back, because I don't know, man. I'm not connecting. Like, I don't care about anybody. Like, I have no connection, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna drop the girl back with his buddy, which he does. And then you did make a comment last week about him and that girl from the Covenant being connected. And then at the end of this episode, he's talking to Halsey, and they're flashing to her getting undressed.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's odd. So maybe they are connected. They're foreshadowing it.
Yes.
So I don't know.
I think they're brother and sister.
They're related somehow. They're connected.
Yes.
And also, he's just always wearing, I don't know. Like, obviously this is a different John.
Yes.
Obviously, which is fine. And they're all doing a fine job, but I just don't, the whole time I'm watching going, I could be playing Halo, a way better story than this. I don't know. I just can't get out of that. So it's just not for me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. There's a disconnect there. I'm saying it's not for me.
Yes.
Not saying it's bad.
Yeah.
It's not for me. This episode, if I give it a scale 1 to 10, I'd give it a 4. For me, it was a 4. I was bored out of my mind. But I'm not, like, at the same time, if you like science, if someone who never played Halo but loves science fiction,
yes,
I think this show works.
Yeah. I think that's the audience they're going for. They're not going for the folks who played Halo.
No, I don't think so. I think this is
made
for
you. It's not made for the folks who played Halo.
It's not made for the fans. It's made for the people who subscribe to Paramount Plus.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Sad to say. I think that's true.
That's why it's on Paramount Plus. And not on CBS.
But it's on Showtime, you say?
No, it's not. It's made by Showtime.
You know what pisses me off, though? Why am I getting commercial ads during this show?
Because you didn't pay for the extra thing to not get ads.
It's so dumb. I feel
it's
like
$5.90. I think it's like $5 for Paramount Plus. Then if you want to get no ads, it's $10.
I mean, I kind of feel like if it's a half-hour show where there's commercial breaks, commercials, but there's no commercial breaks during this show. It just goes to a commercial.
Yeah.
And it's just so
unlike the Star Trek shows, which have the actual commercial break spots in them. You get like the fade to black and then come back from black. It's like, oh, there was a commercial break there.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
This just goes
through like a Disney Plus show. There's no.
I don't know.
spots.
Yeah, the whole commercial thing bothers me too. And I paid for.
I got a little turned off at the very beginning because they said, "Oh, it's going to do this thing like they do on the Star Trek shows," which I hate. The last time on Halo, it's like, no, just go into the show. You don't need to announce it. I know what show I'm watching. It's on a service. I'm not like flipping through channels. Oh, what's this? I chose to watch this. You need to tell me what show I'm watching. I know what show I'm watching.
Oh, it's an old school mentality. They still
the CBS thing.
Yeah,
they're the only ones that do that still.
Yeah,
they do it on the Star Trek last time on Picard. It's like, I know what show I'm watching. You don't need to tell me. I'm watching it on your service.
I hit play. I know what's going on.
I chose to watch this. You don't need to tell me what show I'm watching. Last time on Star Trek Discovery, it's like, why? Just go into the recap. You don't need to have the one line that you had your actors say.
You know what they should have done to really mess with people last time on and put a different name of a show there.
Yeah.
Go, what? I'm not watching that.
Ugh.
Last time on Moon Knight.
It's like, what are the? Yeah, it's like that. Like you wouldn't expect that in a Marvel show.
No,
last time on Mandalorian. It's like
they just show you. That's it.
Show me the recap. I don't need to have. And then give the thing where I can skip the recap. I don't want to sit through your whole recap of the show that I just watched 2 minutes ago.
Right. The only time recaps really work is when you're in season 2.
Yes, at the beginning of the season. Just show the recap of last season.
Right. That episode is going to deal with a character.
Star Trek Discovery. It's like, I don't need that.
But like, I noticed the best way they've done recaps is like, say the episode you're about to watch is going to deal with a character you have not seen in a very long time.
Yeah, you show the recaps of stuff that happened with that character.
Yes. Yeah.
I
like those.
Yes. Personally. But just go to the thing at the beginning that says last time on Halo or last time. Yeah. Only Paramount Plus does it. No one else does.
Yeah. But anyway, you let me know how Halo episode 3 turns out.
I'm gonna start doing that before the podcast now. Last time, economics.
And then we can try to reenact what happened in the last episode.
Yeah.
Bryon drank coffee.
Yeah, Bryon drank coffee. Mark had a water. We talked about Halo.
All right, let's jump into Moon Knight.
Moon Knight, yes.
What were your initial first reactions?
I was ecstatic. I thought it was fantastic. It totally it trying to say this in a nice way without sounding jerky about it, I guess.
Right. What do you mean jerky?
I don't know why I feel like I need to protect other things, but it just amazes me how good Marvel, Star Wars, Disney overall is at storytelling compared to everybody else. In a half-hour show, which maybe 40 minutes, I think the first episode was.
Yeah.
You explained a character that you've never seen before anywhere else in the Marvel Universe. You introduced me to a villain. You had action, you had comedy, you had everything. And it flew by.
Yes.
If that was any other any other company doing it, it wouldn't have been as good.
Agree.
Oscar Isaacs. I don't know why I call him that stuff. Oscar Isaacs is fantastic. I love the way they're going with the character. They changed Stephen Grant, who usually, like I talked about in our preview to Moon Knight last week on Geekonomics, we talked about Moon Knight and how Stephen Grant was in the comics was a billionaire. And in this one, he's just a shop guy that works at a museum.
Yeah.
And doesn't really know. And I love the way they did the action without showing the action.
Yeah, it's cool. I like that a lot. Yeah. And the action we did see felt like I'm watching a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was really well done.
Yeah.
The whole ice cream cart, the muffin cart or whatever he was in car.
Cupcake truck.
Yeah. was really awesome. That was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Like those scenes were great.
Yeah.
I agree with all that, Mark. It felt like to end it when you finally got to see Moon Knight
Yes.
was perfect. I knew they were going to end it that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, why wouldn't you? You want
Yeah.
to get people to watch that second episode.
Yes.
Yeah, I got nothing bad to say, really. I enjoyed it immensely. Oscar Isaac, like, is phenomenal
It was
as
great.
this character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the scene in the bathroom with Oscar Isaac talking to himself.
Yeah.
It's Mark talking to Steven and explaining to him, like, you need to let me take over to save us.
Yeah.
And that whole thing, it was so well done. You could tell the different characters, but also it's the same person.
It helps with two different accents as well.
Yeah.
He's doing it
Yeah.
an English accent, then he has an American accent as Mark.
Yes.
So it gives you, I like that. That was a smart idea, because sometimes you're just doing an American accent, but then you have to like
The fake English accent, because he's actually English, so it makes sense that his English accent is very good.
No, he's American.
No, the character I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
the character is actually English, so it would make sense that his accent would be very well done.
Yeah. But like, you go like William Dafoe, he pulled it off nicely. But it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work.
No, it very much reminded me of that from William Dafoe in the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
That acting style. He's very well done. I enjoyed like the little Easter eggy things. They're very, like, if you know Moon Knight, you like, there was things in there for you. Like when you scroll into the phone, you see Duchamp. That's a big character in the Moon Knight comic. That's his sidekick.
Did you see the QR code?
Yeah, I heard about it. I did not.
So I heard about it after the fact. There's a QR code on the wall in the museum. If you scan it with your phone, you'll actually get a free digital copy of the first issue of Moon Knight.
Ooh.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So I actually want to watch
New Moon Knight or the original Moon Knight?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. I do want to rewatch that first episode going into the second one. That's how good it was. Like, I feel like there's going to be a lot happening in the show where I want to do that double dip. So like WandaVision, I would double dip. I would watch I would always watch the last one first, because there's just so much going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess like there's the little bits I've seen for episode 2 that the lady who makes a phone call to him, who's on the phone, Layla, appears in this episode, and that's gonna be crazy because that's another big Moon Knight character. So
is that his therapist? Well, he does have a therapist. Is his girlfriend?
Now the therapist comes in the comic book. The therapist comes in
way later, right?
After a while.
Yeah,
he figures assigned to him by the Avengers,
right?
Or some other entity assigns him a therapist to help him with that. But I guess also Mr. Knight's going to show up too, which is from the new books. Like one of the major characters in the new books.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's so interesting because it's like a nice mystery, because his girlfriend's like, "Why are you using that accent? Where are you? I've been calling you." And he establishes that he has an apartment, a job, a life. So you're like, as the audience, you're going, "What the hell?" And then his goldfish had one fin, now has 2 fins.
Yes.
And there's something going on there. So like, I love the mystery it's building, because he doesn't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. And
it goes to show that like the way I think they did a great job of it was he's been flipping back and forth between Steven and Mark this whole time.
Right.
But this entity, Steven, doesn't know that. Which is why he has the sand and has his like leg tied to the bedpost and the tape on the thing.
Yeah.
But then they show the scene where he takes the tape off after they do the scene where he goes off, wakes up in the field with a broken jaw, which was cringing, beyond cringing. The dislocated jaw, and he has to pop his jaw back into place.
Oh,
It's crazy. But they have the scene where he's back in the apartment and he pulls the tape off and throws it into the garbage can. There's a huge stack of blue tape. So I think that's them like saying like this has been going on. Like he's not noticing that this has been happening. That he's been waking up, untying himself and leaving as Mark after he falls asleep. And that's why he's trying to like stay awake because he's like not knowing that he thinks he's like insomniac, but he's not. It's basically that entity fighting Mark taking over.
Right.
So that's like I think that's where they're going to go with it. But it's just it was so well done.
Yeah,
it's so good. I'm so excited for the second episode.
Me too. See, this is what I wish Halo did for me.
Yeah,
Halo did not. Yeah, I think Marvel just knows the secret sauce. They got it. They got it. I mean, so yeah, I'm excited for Wednesday. I know our episode came out on Facebook on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But we'll be more on top of it. But
well, it's just
it happens.
Technology. Yes.
Technology.
Yes.
I give this out of the Geekonomics scale 1 through 10. I'll give it a 9. I don't want to give it an 8 because I feel that's too low. I give it a Bryon 9. What do you give it, Mark?
Well, I'm gonna go against my usual thought processes on things. I usually save the big number for the end or for a bigger thing. I will say this is biased because I am such a huge Moon Knight fan that I'm going to start off with giving this a 10.
See,
this was the perfect intro to this character. And I'm so excited that they're doing this correctly because it could have went so badly. I was very worried they could have done this badly.
See, I have no reason to be worried when it comes to Disney shows.
I think it's just because I'm like protective of this character in my own head. It's the character that I've always connected with besides Deadpool for some reason. But Deadpool and Moon Knight have always been my two characters that I've always like been fans of, which are kind of out of the main characters. So I think that's one of the reasons why I like him so much. And Moon Knight because the main character's name has the same first name as I do, which is a weird thing. But when you're younger and a kid and you find stuff like that, you stick to it. So yeah, so I'm excited to see how this keeps going. But I'll give it a 10 out of 10 to start off. And you can only go up from here.
Breaking the mold. Mark's breaking the mold.
Yeah.
The Mark mold.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's more mystery with the show right now. So there's really,
Ethan Hawke's character. Ethan Hawke is doing a great job as the villain.
Good. I like the soundtrack too. It was so weird to hear Bob Dylan start off the whole show. And then
and the use of music like that's crazy.
Yeah, it was good. I liked the soundtrack a lot. It felt very, like I said, it felt like I was watching a Marvel movie more than a show.
Yeah.
Budget on this is very big. You can tell. But it looks great on the TV at home. Speaking of which, I watched Spider-Man No Way Home and this past weekend with Allison. And the CG that looked a little funky on the big screen looked a lot better on the TV.
I would think that would be that way. Yeah, that's usually how that works.
Also, it was so nice to actually hear some of the lines I missed, especially like when people would show up and people lost their shit.
Yeah,
I couldn't hear a lot of things that were said, so it was kind of nice to hear things. It was kind of fun to watch when Matt Murdock showed up and Allison was, what the? Yeah. Like she was excited to see him. She's like, does he come back? And I'm like, no, that was it. And she's like, well, that's lame. I'm like, they're just showing that he's part of this universe now. Yeah. That's all. But somehow she did not know about any of the surprises. So it was fun to watch.
No, it is Claire. So I'm like, it's killing me to not like.
If you watch
to know about Moon Knight and she wanted to talk about Morbius, and I was like, I can't because it connects.
Well, Morbius doesn't connect to anything right now.
Well, no, just talking about like she's like, why is everyone hating this movie so much? And why like the trailer seemed cool. They had the references to Spider-Man in it and everything. I'm like, I can't talk about it.
But That movie has no connections to Spider-Man
And
at
she
all.
she started to see things for Doctor Strange, and she has questions. Like, I can't answer your questions until you see Spider-Man.
Yeah, so
It'll be on Disney Plus soon, I'm assuming.
I don't know.
Soon.
I think Stars might have it first, but it's gonna be physically. I bought the digital, but I'm gonna buy it physically. It comes out, I think, next week on digital. I'm in physical on 4K. So, and the 4K will have all the bonus material, which the digital does not. So
Yeah.
I don't mind. Digital was only $20. And I buy the physical because I like to have physical media for things I really like now. And I don't really buy everything anymore like I used to. So, but anyway, yeah, it was great to rewatch it, especially watch it with someone who hasn't seen it before. So it was still fun. It still holds up. Still a fun ride. Still a good time. So, but anything else, Mark? I know you're staring at the screen.
Sorry, I'm looking up the that it will be coming to Stars.
Yes.
First.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Yes.
Usually does.
Yes.
It'll come to Stars first, and then whoever later on.
Yeah. Because the Stars still has the 18-month exclusivity deal running until July 23rd.
Right.
Or July 2023, I should say.
Makes sense. Yeah, a lot of these contracts were made a long time ago for years, and that was a problem with these streaming services that come out now. They got to have they have to let these run out, and so they can't just negate on their contracts. Then no one would trust them, and then nobody would do business with them.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Then it might even be on Disney Plus for another year, they're saying.
Wow, that makes sense.
So
yeah, because I don't think
Sony thing.
Yeah, I don't think any of the Spider-Man movies are on Disney Plus right now.
Yeah.
I know you can watch. Peacock has them.
Yes.
I believe.
Yes.
Netflix
has exclusive rights for everywhere else but America. So I don't know if that's like since it's a Stars thing, if that falls with Peacock because they're like the same kind of. I don't know if that there's I don't know.
I don't know either.
But anyways, random story just popped up
What?
A little bit ago, or yesterday actually.
Will Smith slapped someone.
No, not even about that.
Oh.
For all the fans of this show, which I started watching probably 4 or 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago. It's one of those shows that was during the dead time in between no shows going on. I was like, oh, I always see things about this from every time I go to a con, I see people wearing stuff about the show, and I don't know anything about it. So like, I want to check this out and see what this show is all about. So I started watching Attack on Titan. I think I mentioned this before on the show.
No, you mentioned this at Hutzel's house.
Yeah. So I started watching Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
It's good and bad at the same time. I'm watching the dubbed version because I don't want to read.
Yeah.
It's just when I'm watching shows, if it's TV, if it's a movie, it's one thing. I'll read the like that kind of thing. But for a cartoon show, it's just they go too fast, and I just don't like have the time to keep up. I just want to sit and relax. I don't want to read. But anyways, so Attack on Titan, the final season, part 3, was just announced for next year.
Final season, part 3. How many parts are going to be in the final season?
3.
So they say. Didn't people think part 2 was going to be the final season?
I don't know.
That's what I saw online, that people were saying they thought part 2 was.
Attack on Titan final season part 2's final episode has arrived, which is also on Hulu, which is where I'm watching it. There's a bunch of shows on there. I watched that show that you talked about, that you mentioned.
What?
Shogun?
I haven't watched that. A Trigun.
Trigon. I watched the first episode and I'm out. I was like, nope, I don't want to watch it.
It's on my list, but I haven't started it.
Yeah, I tried it and I wasn't a fan. Fans have been concerned that there's still 9 chapters of the manga left to adapt. Well, those fears have been extinguished It was confirmed Attack on Titan Final Season Part 3 will officially be released in 2023.
There you go. Man.
Yeah.
Speaking of shows, you mentioned a show I was highly interested in, but I dropped out. It wasn't for me. I tried to I watched the first two and a half episodes of AP Bio.
Yes.
And I couldn't get into it.
It gets better. That's one of those shows that starts off slow.
Yeah, I just didn't.
And the thing is with that show too, it started off on NBC.
Yeah, now it's on Peacock.
Yes. Because what happened was it started off on NBC and it was a little too much for NBC, I think, like on TV, that they moved it to Peacock. I think for the second season. It was on Peacock exclusive.
Yeah, it's a Peacock exclusive now, yeah.
On the second season. So the first season is very tropey NBC type.
I didn't laugh once. I was like, is this a comedy? What am I watching here?
Yeah. So what happened is it's kind of weird. This is what the weird thing about it is. So I waited through the first season because everything I read was like second season it really gets good. Like second season is like it really gets its stride. They're able to do like more, and the second season was good. I did like the second season more than the first season. The other show I started watching too was because a teacher friend of mine told me it was really good and I should watch it. She said it was really good. Abbott Elementary, an ABC show. It's very like a documentary kind of thing.
That's a new one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the commercials.
That's on Hulu, so it's all right.
Yeah, it's probably in the same vein as like a Park and Rec.
Yeah, very much along that kind of vein.
Mayor, what's Sam?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I liked what I saw, but I haven't gone back. It didn't.
Yeah, it didn't grab me that well.
Yeah, AP Bio, I probably won't go back. It was just I'm like, not.
It's one of those shows like that show, this Abbott Elementary show. It's those are the shows I go back to in between, like the shows I want to watch.
Yeah.
Like when there's that gap, because like we just had that 2-month gap between like Marvel shows and Halo and Moon Knight picking up. Like I need to fill time to watch something. So
see, for me,
that's when I go
watch
looking
reruns
around.
of Seinfeld or something.
See, yeah, I didn't like Seinfeld, so
I will watch reruns of shows I enjoy, or I'll watch like American Dad or Family Guy. Or
I didn't watch those shows either. So there you go.
I like all those shows.
There's South Park, and I wasn't into any of those shows.
So I watch Bob's Burgers and all that stuff.
Claire was on a kick for a while where she watched Simpsons all the time, and I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah, I don't watch The Simpsons anymore. I still like them, but I much rather watch Bob's Burgers over The Simpsons.
Yeah, the only one I'll sit down and watch with her is when she starts watching. She gets on randomly. She'll get a King of the Hill kick. I can watch that show all day.
King of the Hill's great too. It's supposed to be bringing it back. Like they're bringing everything back.
Oh man, that'd be something.
Yeah, who knows if it's gonna be good or not.
I'd watch that.
I think it's gonna be Hulu exclusive.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, all right, Mark. Well, that's been a show. We should wrap it up.
Yes.
So we'll be back next week with Moon Knight episode 2. You'll talk about Halo episode 3.
I will.
I will not. And lots more on Geekonomics podcast.
Yes, there'll be so much more as we get ready for Doctor Strange. We're under a month away almost from Doctor Strange.
I know. Very exciting.
Oh man.
It's gonna be big.
That's when the poop hits the proverbial fan, my friends.
I know. So
yes.
good.
So
follow us, like us, subscribe to us on all the platforms, and we'll be back next week.
You will be. That'll be a big Texas 10-4, my friend.
Big Texas 10-4.
Big Texas 10-4. Be good, be safe, be well.
You're supposed to say be kind.
Oh, be kind.
Rewind.
There we go.